traditional podcasters, if you say you have a podcast and you send somebody to YouTube, traditional podcasters will say you don't have a podcast, you have a YouTube channel. Now, I had a few discussions this week, matter of fact, about audio versus video. Now, the money part we're talking about, I'm going to show you how you get this money through audio, but video is actually your landing page. Because think about it. When you go to YouTube, you want to watch a video, do you pay for it? Anybody subscribe to YouTube and you pay for it?
No.
No, you don't pay for it.
Okay, so it's actually a free source for you to link your merch, link anything else from your link tree, your blog, whatever. They'll see the video, which video is the highest gaining traffic source. Video. That's why you can go to Twitch and go live. You can go to Facebook and go live. You can go to Instagram and go live because that's the highest gaining traffic source. But the highest traffic period, like Google, is the top traffic, top search engine. That's what I'm trying to say. The top search engine, and Google owns YouTube, so they're going to get most of the traffic. But your job as a podcaster is to use your audio. You can put it on Buzzsprout, Lisbon, Podbean, Transitive, Captive, or Anchor FM, where I'm at. So Anchor FM, where I'm at, it just at first I was allowed to make audio clips, and then I can do a commercial in between the clips. They changed it since Spotify bought Anchor out. So I guess, yeah, to answer your question, uh, a YouTube video really isn't a podcast, but there's a lot of YouTubers that are making a lot of money off of YouTube. And Joe Rogan's deal was exclusive with Spotify. So all of his content goes right to Spotify. And the deal that they gave him was a $200 million 3-year deal, which is up now. So people are waiting to see what Joe Rogan does. Is he going to, it has to be 200 or better for Spotify because somebody else will offer him, a deal. Could be Apple Podcasts, because if you look at access to podcasts, there's more Apple than anything. And if you have an iPhone, you can go to, it looks like a purple microphone and it says podcast. That's Apple Podcasts. So all of the sources, all of the Spotify, you can go there for free. Spotify has 32 million subscribers. So those are people that listen to it commercial free. But overall, Spotify has 574 million people that view it, period. And Apple Podcasts, they're behind them with 25 million, and then Tidal with 15. But they're all going to offer free sources for you to listen to the music. But it's free for the listener. But because it's free, you got to listen to ads. And that's what pays the podcasters. So, well, that Joe Rogan deal, and the reason I say it's so important is because for us content creators, after this deal, uh, Joe Rogan could just say, I don't want to do anything with one of the streaming platforms. I want to just go independent and do what Joe Rogan wants to do. So I always say, if you're going to be a copycat, you want to copy the right cat. So I'm watching Joe Rogan because he's the number one podcaster. So whatever steps he make, and again, I'll say to each his or her own. So everybody's route isn't going to be the same. But if you follow somebody that has a real decent blueprint, um, it's not guaranteeing your success, but it's a good arrow to shoot at, to and look at the numbers. So if I get into a situation and I need to discuss a deal, I need to know what Joe Rogan discussed and what's the contract stating. What is he allowed to do? What Joe's allowed to do is take his content. After 3 years, he's exclusive with Spotify for 3 years. After the 3 years is up, he can take his content, go to another network, or start his own. So, are y'all picking up what I'm putting down about how much money is in here in podcast?
No, I've always wondered that, and I think a good I don't know if you could speak to this, but can if you could talk about the avenues of how money is made, the different ways you can make money off of podcasting. Like, I mean, you could add sponsors, all that kind of stuff. So, just wonder if you could speak to that if you get a chance.
Sure, we can get right to that. So, if you're, let me give you a quick breakdown when it comes to like the money. So, if you have now there's certain percentages that they put your podcast in. So let's say you have 5,000 listeners. Okay. So if you have 5,000 listeners, they're going to pull you to the top. It's kind of like a Google search. So if you have 5,000 listeners, you're going to be in the top 5% of podcasters that are searched. So let's say you only have 250 listeners. All right. That's going to take you down to like 30%, So just with a small amount, and you can end up, and you want to look at when I first started being monetized, it was only showing me pennies. But when I saw the pennies coming in, same thing as here on Fanbase, I know if I can make a penny, I know I can make $1. I know if I can make $1, I can make 100 of them. So you just scale up and figure out what exactly is your goal, what exactly is your purpose. Um, we talked about Charlemagne, right? Charlemagne inked a major deal with iHeart. It was also a 3 year deal, and I think it's coming to an end as well. So a lot of this, and we're seeing familiar earmarks simply because during the pandemic or after the pandemic, then a lot of things start changing for podcasts. A lot of things changed for us all. But all of these deals were inked. That's when it was audio time, Zoom time, all of that. And these deals were struck. So over those 3 years, Charlemagne and his network, they got 800 million down. So just take that in, 800 million downloads. So what the question that she asked about YouTubing, yes, I believe you do need a presence on YouTube. But yes, you need a foundation in podcasting through the audio portion. And that's what we're going to get to here on this course. So with those 800 million downloads, uh, first of all, Charlemagne came to iHeart with a collective of 37 shows. And I was looking at just recently, he has 4 new shows that he added. One is called Big Facts. It's an Atlanta based kind of hip hop podcast. He has guests like T.I., Young Jock, Duval, Waka Flocka, uh, Deeply Well. And I checked out and went and listened to all of these podcasts. And I've been a fan of Charlemagne since he was on Power 99 with Wendy Williams. So this journey that he's taken, I'm sure when he was on as a co-host with Wendy Williams, he wasn't thinking I'm gonna be in the complex top three podcasters or media persons, but he is. It's actually Joe Buttons, Academics, and Charlemagne. So for our urban podcasters, but within Charlemagne's network, there is a podcast. It's called $1 Million Worth of Game. So we were talking about, well, you were asking me about like sponsors and those type of deals. Gilly and Wallow, they're rappers out of Philly. They bring on personalities that they've come across in the game. I believe Gilly used to write for Lil Wayne, but him being from Philly and being a rapper, he he had a broad scope of what's going on in hip hop, and he would bring people in as a guest and built a following. So he's actually Gillian Wallow. They're on the Black Effect Network, and they signed. Well, it's not about what they signed for; it's about what they refused. So when Charlemagne saw the deal that they refused, he said these two are the top podcasters in our urban, because he looked at the number that they turned down just to stay independent, even though they're on a Black Effect Network and they're on Barstool. So being consistent and having a lot of shows with great content is going to get you some attention. So one of the ads, I don't know if anybody, has anybody ever watched $1 Million Worth of?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so uh, if you if you watch it, you'll see that there's an ad that comes on. It might be 15 minutes. You think that you went somewhere else. Like, wait a minute, is this still $1 million worth of a game? They sell ad space. 15 minutes worth of ad space on their show is $25,000. So that lets you know the traction that they're getting out there. So if it's whatever network deal they got, and if you listen to $1 million worth of game, they endorse, 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 endorse. And it's something that one of the things that stuck in my head that I heard from Juicy J. He said about sampling, they get sampled all the time, and people take the time to, I don't know if I want your song being sampled with my sound. He said, I approve everything. I get checks daily for sampling my music. So getting out there with your podcast, being on Barstool. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with Barstool, but it's a heavy podcasting network. That's what else that $1 Million Worth of Game is on. They're on Black Effect Network. So several shows within the Black Effect Network, they're responsible for that 800 million downloads. And the four new shows, Deeply Well, That Moment, which is Damon John from Fubu, The Professional Homegirl, which I thought was interesting because it's anonymous interviews from surviving addicts. They're talking about generational curses. But these four new podcasts, they brought to the table uh, 3 years of podcasting for the first two, Big Facts and Deeply Well. That's 600 shows. That Moment with Damon John, it was, I guess the uploads lead to a year, so he has like 70 podcasts. And then the Professional Homegirl goes back to 2019. She has 350 shows. So they're adding all of these shows, like almost 1,000 shows. These are new shows, but the 37 other shows, The Breakfast Club, Jeezy, The Recession, uh, Street Politicians with My Son and Tamika Mallory, R&B Money by Tank and Jay Valentine, Michael Blackson, You Mother Sucker, Laugh and Learn with Flame Marone, Ghetto Boys Reloaded, EYL, one of the big ones, and we'll talk about the money in EYL in a minute as well, and Carefully Reckless with Just Hilarious. So this is Charlemagne's network of podcasts. So this ain't no watered down. Like you can see, he got a lot of heavy hitters, and they came in and got that 800 million. So their deal is about up. So it's time for them to either discuss another deal or start their own platform.
I
Well,
never knew that, Podgi, how that all worked, and that's actually a new concept to think about as far as like having a network of podcasters to deliver diversified content to land a big deal, you know. So I never even thought about it like that. I didn't know that's how that worked.
yeah, it's definitely strength in numbers. So if we're to, is there any way you can put LFX Media Podcast in the link? Because I'm trying, but I'm
Yeah,
kind
you
of.
have the crown, so only you can do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? I'll I'll put it in a link. I'm gonna play a portion of one of my latest episodes. I'll just play like 5 minutes of it just to show you guys how easy it is. Like I said, me and Vashawn, how long did it take us to do our podcast, Vashawn?
I don't know. I think we were about maybe 10 minutes.
It was a 6 minute podcast. It took us maybe 15 minutes to drop an episode. So I'm gonna play like maybe 5 minutes of a recent podcast that I've done, and in the meantime, I'll drop the link. Feel free to follow the podcast. Feel free to rate it. Of course, listen to it first and then rate it. But we'll play this right here. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Podgi Carter. We're on season 2, episode 5. We're talking about NFTs. This is part 2 of NFT Me. So let's get into this uh, OpenSea platform. Now, the OpenSea is the largest platform where NFTs are sold, and you don't really have to sign up. You can browse and see different collections. When you search for OpenSea, you don't have to click onto the actual site. Keep scrolling down in Google search, and it'll show you the latest collections, like Doji skulls. This artist has 3,000 Doji skulls in their collection skulls, and they're going for around $6 a piece. So the value of that collection is like $18,000. Maybe they won't sell all 3,000 pieces, but they still have a market value of $18,000 if they happen to sell all 3,000 of the pieces. So if they sold the whole collection, they not only are going to get the currency for the collection that they sold, but every time that is resold, then they'll get something like a residual. So that's the value of NFTs and digital currency. Um, you can create a physical piece of art and keep it, but when you sell a digital image of your art over and over again, it's a game changer. So you do open your account with OpenSea. You also want to download a digital wallet. So the only currency they use is crypto. So I use Coinbase digital wallet. Okay. Could you guys hear that? I had it kind of playing on the loudspeaker. Did you hear the actual podcast?
Yeah,
Yes.
we heard it. So just curious if, well, let me know if I can, if this is a good time to ask a question.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to just throw information at you. I wanted to hear what you guys feel and what you think.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just, wanting to see if you could share just like basically the tools that people will need to kind of get started with a podcast to be able to do what you did there. What, you talked about you use Anchor, FM, which was bought out by Spotify, but what are the basics that people need to kind of get started? And then I know we're going to do something hands-on where we can all go and like sign up, maybe get walked through to sign up for an account. I think you're talking about doing that with Anchor. I'm not really sure, but just wanted to, ask you that.
Oh yeah, we can. I mean, if someone is interested in signing up with Anchor, we can do that today. You go to the App Store and download Spotify for podcasters. That's what it's called now. It was Anchor, but Spotify bottom out. So Spotify for podcasters. It should be a purple and black app. Anyone is there anyone drop a one in the chat if you feel like you would like to take this challenge on?
So you were going out a little bit. So what's the challenge again?
We'll start someone's account and start them as a podcaster today.
Yeah, let's all do it. Like anybody who wants to do it, let's all do it. But let me take the tip. Let me take the temperature really quick. Is there anyone in here who's seriously interested? Like, I really do want to start a podcast. Is that flash your mic if that's you?
Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Caprio Jackson, and we're here ready for the new podcast. Let's go.
All right, Gabrielle. Okay, all right. So I would say, Podgy, anybody who wants to do it, let's do it. And this is a good time for me to talk about the Fanbase Collective, even though we're in the Black Girl Be Brave camp. This is the biggest womp womp I've done for the week. And, it's only Thursday, so I still got time to top this one. But essentially, one of the elements of what we do is that things are hands on. You have the opportunity to interact and to actually be hands on. And I would challenge, if you're here, like you might as well go through the motions to participate in some of these things. So just wanted to kind of share that. So I am going to be participating. So Podgy, if you can walk us through it, let us know what we need to do, then, we're ready.
Sure. Let's and first of all, I just want to thank you for reaching out and being so receptive of me coming on to here as a newbie. And you're an OG on here on Fanbase. So, I want to thank you for that. And as you can see, I fumbled last week with the time zone. So, it's trial and error. But I need everybody that's interested. And even if you're not interested, go there anyway. Go to wherever you get your apps at, type in Spotify for podcasters and look for a purple and black app or black and purple. Let me know when you're there.
All right, be right back.
Yeah, it's definitely
You said go to wherever we listen to podcasts and
no,
then what else?
no. Go wherever you download your apps, where you get new apps at. If you're at the Google Play app, or I know Apple, where we go, wherever you get down your load your apps at. When you put new apps onto your
Yeah, like either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, basically.
Yeah, is there a mouth that's over a microphone?
well,
Yeah.
that's the old one. I mean, no, you're going if you're on an Apple.
Yeah.
That's Apple Podcaster. I need you to go to the Apple Store, to the App Store, and get Spotify for podcasters.
Spotify for podcasters. Yeah, that's what I typed in. Spotify for podcaster. Yeah, the purple logo. Got it.
It's a black logo with the purple with three lines across, and it says exactly Spotify for podcasters.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I got it. Anybody else still trying to get it before we move on? No? Okay.
Okay, I'm there.
Sack Black is in here. I already have been podcasting for about a year, but I'm following along. That's what's
Okay, much appreciated. So go into the app and tell me what you see. I'm looking at the bottom, the toolbar, whatever it says, analytics, tools, and your podcast. That's how mine's is. Does anyone else see that?
Mine says listen now, browse, library, search.
So, all right, go to the top. See, I did mine years ago, so I don't. When I go in, it's going to show me my podcast and how to go in, its tools and the analytics of my podcast. What does it say at the top?
Well, wait a minute. Before y'all get too far, I haven't even logged in yet. So, Caprio,
Yeah.
and after you logged in, that's what you saw?
But no, I'm about to log in now. That was just from the Apple store that noticed.
Yeah,
So
so I want to be, because I don't know if you're in the right spot, or if you're looking, like, once you click open, I see Spotify for podcasters, sign up with Spotify or log in. That's what,
Yeah, me
if you
too.
have never, that's what you should see, Caprio.
yeah, I'm logging in right now.
Okay. But you just said you saw something different. That's why I want to make sure you're in the right app.
Yeah, this here is asking me to log in, so I'm logging into the right Spotify. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, the right app this time. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and yeah, Vashawn, you're right. It'll ask you to come in as a listener, or it'll ask you, do you want to, the spot, the Spotify for podcasters is you building your own.
Well, it didn't ask me if I wanted. That's why I want to make sure he was in the right spot. It didn't ask me if I wanted to come in as a listener. I simply downloaded it. When I'm on the app screen, it just says Spotify for podcasters, your podcast studio, and parentheses says Anchor. And when I click open, it just gives me a sign up with Spotify or login screen. So I just sometimes it be these little nuances that miss people. I know, like, it might. I just don't want anybody to, and then they won't speak up. They won't say nothing. They'll just be sitting on mute, lost. So I wanted to dial it back. So if I click up sign up with Spotify, because I've never signed up for Spotify for podcasters. So once I do that, then it's going to say Anchor wants to use Spotify.com to sign in. I do have a Spotify account, so that might be a nuance for someone who doesn't. And I click continue, and then it says log in to Spotify. I'm getting ready to do that. Continue with Google, continue with my Google account. It says you do not have a Spotify, or continue with Apple. Maybe it's with Apple. So continue with passcode. All right, let's see if this is good, guys. And okay. And then once it has me logged in, it says logged in as Vashon, and then it says continue to the app. Now I am back to the app. Okay. Then it asks me for terms and conditions, um, which I clicked accept. All right. And so now I'm there. Did anybody get lost in that process? Please speak up so we can make sure that you get the information. No, everybody's good. Where'd Caprio go? We lost him. Okay.
He said he had to. I
Do
guess
y'all?
he had to go out to try to go in.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. All right. So, hello, brother Corey. Good to see you. And Just make sure no one else walked into the room. And Sack Black, good to see you too as well. Okay, so I am at the screen now, Podgi. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm at the screen now that says you want notifications about podcasts, continue. Podcasters would like to send you notifications, allow. Okay. So now I am at, goodness gracious, allow. Now I'm at the screen that says episode builder. So that's what it brought me straight into.
Oh,
Does that sound about
yes, this should be. You should be in the studio. So episode builder. I wish I could see it. So what does it say now for sure?
okay? Hold on, y'all will be off mute. Shouldn't have echo. Okay, so for me, it goes straight to it says next. It's telling me next, create an episode. The drop down, if I click the drop down, it says create an episode for the first selection, set up your podcast for the second selection, set up your monetization for the third selection, and then start getting listeners for the fourth selection. But that's only if I click the little carrot drop down. Then it has episode builder, then it says record or upload some audio, and it will appear here. So I
So
guess
I'm
yes.
in. I'm in.
You're in? Okay, great. Are
Yeah.
you at the part? Because where it landed me after I clicked through everything and signed in, it landed me on the white screen that says next, create an episode. Are you there?
Yeah, and at the bottom it says analytics tools and your podcast.
All right, okay. Is there anybody who's following along that is not there? They couldn't get there.
Now I got a quick question because I noticed something. It said Anchor. Now I did do a 9 series podcast on Anchor um a while back called Normalize. So this is connected to Anchor, right, Paji?
Yes, it is. And
Okay,
the way to
great.
find out if it's still housing your podcast, just go to Spotify and do a search. And if you come up, then you're still.
Do a search. Well, right now it says create your episode, create an episode, set up your podcast, and go from there. So
Okay, yeah, we'll worry about the search later, but
yeah,
go to create tool, the create tool.
create tool because I see analytics tools and your
Yeah,
podcast.
tool. Hit the tool. Go.
Okay.
Okay,
And then
tool.
Joyce and Angela both said that they are also with us. So I just wanted to make note. There's a couple people following along. All right. So I am in the podcast. I see the tools at the bottom. It has a purple plus icon. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So you want us to click on that?
Yes, click on the tool.
Okay.
So I see voice messages, record, library, music, and interludes.
All right. So the voice messages is a real neat thing. As you're podcasting, you can not only do polls through here, you do your podcast, and then when you're done, it'll ask you to ask the people a question because you definitely want them engaged. So you can not only do polls, but as people listen to your podcast, they can actually leave a voice message with you, and that's, yeah, even more. That's better reaction. So that part of it, yeah. But when we hit you see there's a microphone where it says record.
Yes,
Okay, don't click on that. Scroll to the right of that. What do you see?
library.
Library. All right. Click on that library. What does that do?
It just says your audio library is empty. Import, so I could hit the import um from where that anything that I probably record.
That's wow. You ahead of the game. I don't even have to tell you what to do. So, if you came in, let's say you're recording. your voice onto your computer and you save it as an MP3 or AAC or whatever. So that upload, if you're on this app on your desktop, you can go right to there and hit the upload from your desktop to whatever, and it'll go to your library. You can trim it, you can put music behind it, and you can put transitions. Like I said before, I used to be able to put ads between it, but they don't do that anymore. So from so that everybody understand what your library is, you can import audios, or you can create an audio right there because there's a speaker there for you to create an audio right there. So y'all got that?
Well, I ain't record anything, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, we ain't gonna record yet. I just want to give you like walk you through like all of the applications. So after there, go to the right, and what else is it?
Hey, Podgi, can I ask you a
Music.
real quick question before we move
Yes, ma'am.
forward?
Yes, ma'am.
So, uploading, so I just wanted to clarify. So, basically, starting a podcast can be as simple as taking your phone and recording your voice, and now you have the ability to podcast. But in many cases, you're going to be taking the audio that you create, maybe creating it somewhere else using AI tools, cleanup methods, adding different things to it, and then uploading it. And this is where you would be importing that content to, correct?
That is correct. So if you're see, I'm a 23-year photographer and videographer. So I see a lot of people do a lot of tricks and want to spice their stuff up. But whatever's trending, like if I get a trending something that's trending right now and I want to pod about it, I just hit record and I'll do sections that I can dump into the library. Then I can I kind of edit it in my head. I'll start like we did with the podcast we did last week. I'll start at the beginning, and if it messes up, then I'll start over and record it again. And I want to have the best piece of audio that I can just clip the end and clip the beginning, put music behind it, and you can add music to your podcast if you're talking about music or you're a DJ or whatever. But understand, when I was doing that, when it was just Anchor, it took the monetization off of your podcast because you're playing the music, even though it's music playing from Spotify and you have a Spotify podcast. But I stayed away from music, only background music. So leaving the library, then the next thing, what is
Just a second. I'm sorry.
that's
Um, the next thing that it says is music.
okay, and that's
Oh, this is cool. This is the advantage of having Spotify because you
exact.
have access to a huge music library. Okay, cool.
So adding music is just that simple. But again, I stay away from music because I did, from 2018 to 2020, I did a few with music in them, and I was like, why isn't this getting monetized? And it was the music that was playing to stop it from being monetized. But after that, what does it say after the music?
It says interludes. Well, can we talk about what you can do with? Can we break that down a little bit? So it says, okay, add Spotify. Let me read it. Add Spotify music to your show. Create your own music plus talk episode. Just add any Spotify song to your Spotify for podcast or show. Once it's published, your audience can listen exclusively on Spotify. So there's a little tutorial there, but what is that? Is that meaning like you can, like, what does that exactly mean? Does that mean you can just add music to the like beginning of your show, or you have access to play throughout? Do you know what that means exactly?
Yeah, you can actually, if you're a DJ. if you're a rapper or you're a musician and you have a Spotify playlist, you can add your playlist and actually do a radio show. You're talking during the radio show, you're playing the music, or maybe you're comparing, you're doing a top five artists of the year or whatever, and you want to play their music while you're doing your podcast. So it allows you several ways to bring the music into your podcast.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, the next one is interludes.
Right. So these interludes, let's say you have four 5 minute sections that you have either uploaded from another source or you create it right there. And those four audios, they're going to go right to your library, but you can select them and put them into a current podcast that you're trying to publish right now. So the interlude is if you're saying, all right, we're going to be right back after this break. And your background music comes in, and then it'll be an interlude. It'll be a musical. It might be a scratch, or it might be a spin backwards, or, just something like, will
Yeah,
be that type of.
that's stuff that you could create in the dark if you're well grounded. It's almost like what um, disc jockeys would create. I forgot what they call it, but I created one. But you know how you be like, "Welcome, you are now rocking with the best do WMGJ such and such." Woo. And then you have your little drop or whatnot, and that's your interlude. And you can have like where you talking about a little something, make it interesting,
Yeah, you can make it interesting at, a
informative.
minimal in.
Yeah.
So I just go. My business partner is a sound engineer and an artist, so I could get access to all of that. But I'm more with speed. I got access to these interludes right here. I'm not going to create. If I have something already created, fine. But you got access to these interludes, and all you're saying is, "Hey, I'll be right back." Drop an interlude in between your four, and as you publish it, it will blend together as a video editor or anything like that. But that's the purpose of the interlude.
Do.
So what does it say after the interlude?
Um, I don't think there's anything else after that. The only thing, so if I click tools, I scroll over, the last thing is the interlude. You can also import, I guess, import your own interlude too as well if you don't want to use the ones that are available. So that looks like that's an option. And then the only other thing I think is that I would be interested in knowing, if you don't have any more on this, is the little carrot where it tells you to set up your podcast. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, I see. That's the steps. Those are steps you take. Oh, okay, I get it. So once you create an episode, then it takes you through how the next step would be setting it up, and then the next step will be setting up monetization, and the next step will be getting listeners. Okay, I get that. Uh-oh, why can't it? Uh-oh. Oh no, my screen froze. I can't get back to the pod. Oh crap. I'm gonna have to shut out my phone and come out.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me see. I don't know why Apple doesn't let you hard end an app without having. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. All right. I got it. Okay. So the only other things that I see on this screen is your podcast. So, um, can you see that when you click that, Podgy?
No, I'm not even on the app. I'm just
Oh, okay.
going
Well, I can
off.
go through it really quick. So
No,
when
no,
I click on, huh?
go ahead.
When I click on your podcast, guys, I can see total plays per episode. Then it has where you can see episodes, and then it can tell you where I guess how much you've monetized, but you have to set that up. Um, and it says before you can publish any episodes, you'll need to verify your email address with Spotify for podcasters. And then it says, Podgi, it says, okay, you don't make your first, make a trailer instead. So can you explain to what making a trailer would be?
Okay, when people click onto your podcast and it'll be like your landing page. The first thing they're going to see is a trailer, which is something you record. This is something like um, a little 15-second or 20-second commercial about what this podcast is about, what you're here for. That trailer will be at the top, and then you'll have your most recent podcast all the way down to the bottom, the first podcast you ever did. So creating a trailer is something after you said, getting your email and all of that. But one thing that I wanted to accomplish today, and we can move to other parts, but I would like to go back to the record button and everyone actually record an intro. Hi, my name is such and such. Da, 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 da. Welcome to such and such podcast. I want to do that, and it's going to go to the library when you save it, and we can end that part of it unless there's more questions.
Okay,
I have
cool.
a quick question.
Sure.
So, if you use music that Spotify provides, like the instrumentals, can you not be able to monetize? I know you spoke about that a little bit earlier. If you use music, you're not going to be able to monetize. So, I just wanted to get clarification.
Well, if you absolutely felt it necessary to add music to your podcast, then it's a podcast that you will probably have to sacrifice that it won't be monetized. That's what I was saying. Like I don't even
Even
use
if you
music.
use, even if you use the music that Spotify provides, like those instrumentals, like on the episode that you let us listen to, you had background music from Spotify,
Oh
so
yeah,
you can't
yeah.
monetize.
No, I can monetize that. This is all provided by the app. So
Okay,
I
yeah,
use
that's what.
stuff.
Yeah, I was just double checking to make sure because I was like, man, I use music from Spotify, but like the one that you had, I use music like that too. So that's why I was asking, can you still monetize if you use their provided instrumental?
Oh yeah, you absolutely are monetized with their background music because it's like a bunch of loops that they create. You know that it sounds that you see it and you have availability to it, but somebody had to create it. But they created it themselves to make it easier on the ear, more professional sounding. So after you complete your first recording, hi, my name is such and such, da, 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 and then you stop recording, you'll see at the top it'll say add background music, and then you can go through all of the thing that I use is Compton. I use the same every time because I want that, signature sound.
Yeah, I use my Spotify music.
Okay. So can can we get that recording in? It'd probably be like 15 seconds or maybe 20 seconds, just introducing yourself so we can get a raw something that goes into our library. Just hit if it'll allow us to record and do this at the same time. Let's see if we can do that.
I'm typically unable to do that, but I don't know, maybe on Fanbase. I know it's a background app, so let me try.
And if not, if we can't do that, it'll just be a homework assignment for and we can touch bases. Hopefully, everyone that's in here that's interested is following me, and we can back channel or whatever, and talk about what's going.
I got bad reception. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Now, before, I believe that in the past, maybe about a year ago, and you can attest to it, that I believe that Spotify wanted 50 plays, downloads before you can get monetized. I think it's like 100 now. And I guess that are you trying to grow a collaborative to get people to 100 as fast as possible? Because I guess if you have 10 people that cross-reference their platform as far as podcasts are concerned, it shouldn't take no more than maybe a month between the 10 to get the people to 100. I'm not sure if that was the thinking or not.
Yeah, that's absolutely one of the steps. It is 100, and that's for subscriptions. Like I said, they Spotify created their own payouts and what made the most sense for them. And yeah, you got to have 100.
All right, thanks for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
And even without 100, um, let's say you got 25 and you got somebody that's marketing your podcast, where let's say you're a let's say you're a DJ. I like to use that because I am a DJ. So um, I'm a DJ, but I got a marketing team that's reaching out to Newmark, the people who make the equipment and mixers. Newmark, I land a deal with Newmark. They know I have a podcast that possibly could be growing. We could do per click. We could do like Newmark pays this amount out monthly, but it doesn't you don't absolutely have to wait till what these platforms say is when you can start collecting money. You just put your feelers out immediately as soon as you have it set up. And I've reached out to people who I've seen have fantastic platforms and they have a network by themselves, but don't understand the strength in numbers. If we were all to approach Spotify as LFX Media, the podcast network, and we have 40 or 50 shows, and each show is actively podcasting twice a week for a amount of time. And I say that's why I do the year challenge, because I would like to, whoever is interested, like after a year of following me, we can come to some type of terms. And my actual business, my LLC, is multimedia and publishing. So I'm a published author. I publish my podcast. I went to school for writing for 6 years. I got an MBA in publishing. So the business end of it is telling me LFX Media Podcast can be the largest network. You just follow the examples that are put before you. You be consistent, come with great content, and the numbers won't lie.
Hmm. I should love that idea. I mean, I think, and that's kind of the purpose of the fan base collective. Um, Disregard that we're in the Black Girl Be Brave camp, but the fan base collective is for collaborative efforts, right? You have a community here on Fanbase. There should be ways. I mean, it doesn't have to be super incestuous. I mean, you don't have to get all the way in bed with anybody. I understand that. But as far as if there's a way for people to be able to come together and work together, it just makes sense to do that. You will definitely have an easier way. So I love that idea. I never thought about the whole concept of a network of podcasters. I didn't even know that's what was happening on the back end. But yeah, so I don't know if we got a chance to break this down before we start wrapping up. One is that there's a lot, I think, to this conversation about podcasting. This was a great introduction. It was amazing. So thank you, Podgi. But there's so much when we talk about AI and tools and just different ways to kind of go about things and how to monetize. And there's so much more. So, Paji, what do you think? You think what another maybe two, like this is like a three-part series possibly? Or do you think will
Well,
kind of a good foundation to start?
absolutely. In Russell Simmons fashions. Thanks for coming out. Good night. Um, I see. I can go 4 weeks. 30 days is how you make or break a cycle. I would like to take this 30 days, and I'm committed to outside of this. Like um, I created it this morning thinking about this podcast, and it's not just trying to uh, get passed around the hat, but I want to. I said at the beginning, in order to be great, you have to make others great. So if you subscribe, I have a subscription on here, and it has a link that'll take you to a Zoom, and I want to create it from here, like from this group of people. I'll dedicate Saturday morning 30 minutes every Saturday morning for whoever wants to come in here. You subscribe and you get the link.
I'm actually not sure how Fanbase works with subscriptions. I think it's when you have subscribers, I think you have, I don't think those are rooms that happen inside of camps. I think you open up a room and only your subscribers are able to come in unless you send people a link. So I think that's how that works. Otherwise you can't lock down rooms like that in camps.
Oh no, I'm not trying to do a room. I'm trying to take it to.
Are you trying to take it to Zoom? Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
mean,
sense. Okay.
we can do a room, but I feel like there's a lot of things that I wanted to be. We could all be looking at. I can share my screen and we can do interactive stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
They're still in the development stages here, and I do a room on Zoom called Rico Sundays. I was waiting for the football season and Super Bowl to be over, but we have a lot of fun. We play music, we network, we talk, and I was looking more in that aspect.
Okay. Yeah, no. Oh, doing Zooms. No, absolutely. I mean, we will do that more. That any creator, educator who comes into the fan base collective, they want to do that. But I've done this before, so it's just to lessen the complexity. But if they are set up and they're already, ready to go, and people can just join in on the link, that's perfectly fine anytime. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give everyone an idea as far as you know how many more of these rooms you were going to be able to do, for those who really want to get into the weeds with podcasting. And before we start to wind down, so what what would they be able to expect next Thursday? I'm hoping that we can do this the same time next Thursday, but we can confirm that. I know you need to look at your schedule, but what would they be able to expect from the next meetup?
Next session, I'll finish off with the networks, and give you more. We didn't get totally into the business because we got interactive, but I want to finish talking about a few networks. We'll just go into a few minutes of that, but then I want to get into specifics of networking as a podcaster individually. So, bringing other guests in and looking at analytics, and we'll go more into Buzzsprout, Lisbon, Podbean. Those are the foundation platforms. Now, the streaming platforms, we have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Tidal. Those are the three giants. So you want your I'll save it for next week. But we'll get into the platforms, we'll get into the analyzation, and we'll get into the actual structure. We'll get into podcast structure next.
Okay, that's great. All right, that sounds good. All right, guys. Tyler, hi. D Banks, crypto. Hello, it's always good to see y'all. Um, so we are actually wrapping up. This was really, really great. As of right now, we will be back here, not in this camp because we're in the wrong camp, but we'll be back in the Fanbase Collective. Make sure you click the link at the top that's pinned in the room. Make sure that you join the Telegram group. It is how I kind of disseminate information on what's going on. And then people are also putting in other resources in there. Some of the stuff I have to go through and clean up a little bit. But yeah, definitely join the Telegram group so that you will get notified of and know when these things are happening. And tomorrow, guys, I will be doing a room in the Fanbase Collective. I'm still trying to determine which one I'm going to do. So I may be doing one on either course creation, but more than likely, I think that because I'm getting ready to hire a VA, that I'm going to another VA. I'm getting ready to go. I will be teaching on how to hire a virtual assistant, how to work with the platforms to be able to do that, what you can use VAs for, how do you train on board, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, anybody that's doing any business at all, or even if working with your companies, you definitely, want to understand that. So, yeah, I just made a decision. That's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow in Fanbase Collective. So we're going to start that at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And yeah. So, are there any questions of Podgi, who is LFX Media? Are there any questions about what you learned today? And I'm also going to be checking the chat. Let's see. Oh, great. Joyce created her intro already. She does. She's always on top of it. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Is Miss Angela in here, or is she tied up in the back with work?
D Banks, you have a question for Angela
Yeah, I was just want to see if she was available right now.
to do something in here or just in? Oh, you want to talk? Angela, are you there?